Hey, this is Larry Wilmore.
Jon Connor.
You're watching Global Grind.
Yes, sir.
Yo.
Folks, there's nothing better to do. This is your boy Xilla sitting down with Larry Wilmore and Jon Connor. Just wrapped up an amazing episode of The Nightly Show. The crisis in Flint. Where were you when you heard about it? And you heard about it before the world.
Right. Well, I was actually in Flint about 2 years ago, because this is one of the misconceptions is that this thing just started just now. You know, this has been going on for like 2 years. So every time I would go home to visit my mom, you know, it was always like, well, they said something's wrong with the water, but there was like this false sense of security of, well, they said if you boil the water, everything's gonna be okay. And then every time I would come back, it's like a more detrimental story about the water. It's like, well, no, if you boil it now, that doesn't work. And then, you know, so I kind of watched the evolution of this whole thing happen. I went from it being, oh, it's no big thing, to what it is now. And you know, it's just like I say, it is close to home for me because I'm from Flint. My mom's still there, so it's just I'm trying to bring attention to it and awareness to it and help in any way I can.
Yeah. Your family okay?
Well, my mom lives in like a problem area. Like, you know, she's when everybody's sending bottled waters to Flint, you know, my family and friends, they're the ones that are receiving this. I'm going home to my mom's house and I'm seeing stacks of bottled waters, you know, so this is very real to me.
Yeah. How about you? What were you when we first heard about it?
Well, I was here in New York. You know, I mean, we're covering all these stories, and I mean, what's amazing to me is that, I mean, you say 2 years ago, and then the world, we hear about it 6 months ago or whatever. That to me is part of the crime of this story, is that it takes so much for voices to get out to talk about a humanitarian crisis.
Yeah.
We were so angry when we heard about it, and we're doing a comedy show, so for us it's like, well, we got to somehow turn this into a show. But we know part of what we do here is a call to action or advocacy and that kind of thing, you know. So sometimes we just have to write our feelings on it and then just do the show and find the humor in it somewhere in the humanity. But we really could not believe this story when we heard it.
Yeah. Same, because you always hear about there's something in the water.
Yes.
And then now for there really to be something in the water,
exactly.
It's sort of so.
Yeah, if it was
crazy.
a shark, it'd be easier to handle, right?
Yeah. And I think it's also crazy that we always find out about stuff when it's too late. Like even when the towers and the 9/11 attack happened, I think the other building said, "Don't worry about it. It's a small plane. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And then when the building went down, they wanted to start evacuating the building. Why do you think we always act when it's too late?
Well, it's human nature. I mean. Plus, it's the way that bureaucracies work, too. You know, they take the longest route to get anything done. But I also think this country has a huge problem with poor people. We do not take care of poor people. And if you ask just your average person on the street, how do they feel when they see a homeless person? Do they feel negative or positive? I bet you a lot of people would say they have negative feelings. Like they'll judge them. Oh, who's that? If they ask for money, I'm not giving them money. Like your first reaction is a negative reaction. Like, so even our instincts towards poor people is overwhelmingly negative most of the time. And there's an invisibility to people who are powerless. You know, if you're powerless and you don't have a voice, who's going to be the voice for you?
Yeah.
People that have the power and living in great areas, there are many connections and voices out there for them already. So that's the other thing. When you're powerless, you don't have a voice for you. There's nobody speaking up for you.
Yeah. I think that's why the emails had that tone to them. Like, no, they didn't really care.
Absolutely. When you talk about PR, what you're really talking about is this going to translate to votes? How do we keep power? How do we stay here? That's what PR is all about.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why are you concerned about how something looks?
Yeah.
You know, fix the fucking pipes.
Right.
You know, who cares about the PR?
Exactly.
Right?
When you see stuff like that, the lack of response and the lack of urgency, how do you feel as a native of Flint?
Well, man, it hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a native of Flint, Michigan, America, like the fact that this is an American city that's going through this, where, you know, I'm going home to visit and I'm seeing, you know, army trucks driving down the street, you know, like, and, you know, like, it's like, I can't believe it. You know, it's honestly disbelief when I go home or when I hear about how this was handled. You know what I mean? It's like the reason we elect these people is because we are putting that trust into their hands in hopes that they're going to do the right thing. That's why we have elections. That's why they campaign. That's why they kiss babies. That's why they hug us. That's why they shake our hands, because they want us to trust them. And then after we trust them, it's kind of like we just get left out here. And where, you know, I went to my elementary school when I went back home. I went to the Boys and Girls Club of Flint, and I looked at these these kids in the eyes. Like, see, it's different for me because they're making decisions and they're not looking at these kids in the face. I'm looking at the kids who might have like learning disabilities like 5 years from now. I'm looking at these kids in the face that are having Legionnaire's disease because of this decision that was made. So like I said, for me, it's a little more personal because I can put a face to these kids that are going through it.
Yeah. And the government only tells you things when they have to. I mean, in Flint recently, I don't know if this was a week or a couple weeks ago, they had some military operations there. And people were hearing explosions and all this. This was reported on the local Flint news. And you saw this lady, they asked her what was it. And she said, I don't know, I think some meth lab probably blew up. She thinks some meth lab blew up. I mean, because they didn't tell the people what was going on. And this is the news reporting it, and they didn't know what was happening.
That's crazy.
Yes.
True story.
What was the final straw that made you write the song? Because the song's so powerful and so amazing. Was there like one thing that made you write it, or was it like, you know what, I finally got to do something?
Well,
or say something.
I think it was crazy for me because being back home in Flint, everybody was kind of dealing with it. Like I said, this was happening for 2 years, and Flint people have this spirit about them where everything is gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So even though people have been taking showers with bottled waters for like a minute, it was like, well, they're gonna fix it, right? But then when I'm in LA and I'm seeing it on TV and I'm seeing how massive it's becoming, it's like, yo, I had to go home and tell my mom, I was like, Mom, this is more serious than y'all, you know what I'm saying, are being led to believe. So there's like, for me, when I'm at home or if I'm watching it out in LA and I'm seeing on the news, it's like if I'm seeing things that are being reported that don't represent where I come from and don't represent the voice of the people, it's like, oh, I gotta say something. It's Flint, it's me, I am Flint. So it was a no-brainer. It was like that song wrote itself. To me, that's not even a song. That's me having a conversation with y'all, the listeners, about how people in Flint feel.
Yeah. And how is it seeing such a rush to support it, like everyone donating stuff and everyone wanting to be a part of the movement to fix Flint?
I think that's really cool because a lot of times we think that entertainers, artists, celebrities become jaded by their success, but I think that this is one of those times that's really dope, whereas like, nah, like, you know, people are actually caring. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's not a, for me, it's a human thing. It's a human problem. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Chaldean, whatever you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? This affects you because you think to yourself, well, what if this was my city? And I want to say, like, I want to thank Larry for having me on the show, like, and Kiki to do this song. It was even at a point in the performance, I got emotional. I had to remind my, you know what I'm saying? Like,
me too.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, it was one of those things as I was saying these words and knowing that on this platform there are potentially millions of people that are going to be able to view it and it's going to bring attention to the issue. I thank, like I said, Larry, I thank Dre, I thank all of the celebrities, I thank Cher, I thank Ryan Coogler, who just did the Justice for Flint charity event. I thank all of these people, you know what I'm saying, who are donating and bringing attention to it, man, because, you know, it just shows that, you know, no, people in the entertainment business, at times we all have our little idiosyncrasies or whatever, but it's like at the end of the day, when it comes down to human life, everybody cares.
What do you think the people running for president, what do you think their role is in this crisis? And that goes to both of you guys. Like, what do you think?
I'm very cynical when it comes to politics, you know, and who knows, you know, what power the government yields in this kind of situation, you know. And I'm always suspicious when somebody, you know, kind of uses these things for their own political gains. But hey, if they talk about it, good for them, you know, and keep talking about it, call more attention to it. We were talking about this earlier. Just the fact that you're talking about it is a good thing, that the word is getting out, you know. But I do think it is a sin that, I mean, Flint, Michigan was the heart of the Industrial Revolution in America, where, you know, the middle class built so many things for America in Flint, Michigan, and we can't fix some pipes for these people, you know. And that middle class was devastated in that area after people broke their backs for so many things in this country for so many years. You know, those are the kinds of things that really get me. But I would love to see a politician not just repeat the things that are being said, but have some vision for this too. You know, be a leader about it, and you know, and not just repeat the things, but get out there and have some solutions for it, you know. And you know, there's a lot of shaming that can happen from some of those people too, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to talk to me. It's a great song, great episode, and both of us being able to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Your boy Blogzilla Global Grind. We out.